Welcome to the Sparta Dynasty Fantasy Football League news and updates, starring Shark, Dylan, Tyler, Ben, Alec, Chris, Smits, Zoms, Matt, Connor, Germ, and your commissioner and host, Branson. Alrighty fellas, so to start off this video, this update, we're gonna review our rules of the injured reserve. So, as you'll see, using my roster as an example, you got the two IR spots there, highlighted in the red box, there, and those are for players that have the IR designation. Now, the rest of those spots, those last 8, I believe, that is highlighted in green. We're on the green box. And in those 8 spots, you can put players with the designation of COVID, DNR, because those are the opt-out players, or just any of the other things that are involving COVID. I'm pretty sure that it's just COVID and DNR. Yeah. So just that's what it's for. Red box, green box. Make it easy. Don't break the rules, or you're losing a 3rd round pick next year. I'm telling you. Okay. Now I know that no one's trying to cheat here. So let's just play it clean, guys. Or I'm gonna no, I'm kidding. Gosh, calming down. All right, let's get into it. There are matchups. We're doing the matchups now. Here we go. To the matchups. Right now. We're going. Here we go. Alrighty, so getting into the first matchup here, we've got Ben versus Dylan. Ben gets the W here by 40 points. It's another classic story. I feel like I just repeat myself every week. The quarterbacks carry Ben, but he did get a helpful, big performance out of Melvin Gordon this week, who scored 2 touchdowns on Thursday night. It looks like he had to start Alexander Mattison this week out of nowhere. Must have been a COVID thing with James Conner being out. And I believe his quarter. Oh no, never mind. That was Matt I was thinking of. He started Alexander Mattison, who got 17 yards, but he did squeak in a touchdown, so that's quite helpful. Julio got hurt at halftime, didn't play the whole second half. Devontae Parker had a nice game. Diggs did well. Jay Howard got the touchdown before rupturing his Achilles. David Johnson, he did alright. And, Josh Allen's a monster. Didn't get a good performance out of his kicker and defense again, but it didn't matter because it was still enough to beat Dylan, who had another pretty tough week. Joe Burrow did, he did alright, but he didn't get a whole lot of touchdowns. And, it's kind of the important factor when you got a throwing quarterback. I know that with the Jared Goff, but then you got Ezekiel Elliott and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had a pretty down game. You hope for some more. You would also hope that Zeke would get a touchdown eventually. That'd really boost the performance there. Terry McLaurin goes off. Tyler Boyd, Mecole Hardman, all those players. Tyler Hawkinson. Oh my god. Did I just say Tyler Hawkinson again? It's TJ Hawkinson. Holy cow, I am freaking out. Oh well. Jeff Wilson, bold start. He threw him in there. He said, screw it, we're doing it. Baker does alright. Then you got Sloman and the Ravens, who do better than Ben's combined kicker and defense. but it's not enough, unfortunately. Dylan is going to start 0-4, and Ben will get to 3-1 on the year. A tough break for Dylan. Shoot, man. Hopefully you get a cake matchup next week. It'd be tough to be 0-5, but you know what? You got this. You know you're not out of it yet. You got a good looking roster, and that's all that can be said. Good looking rosters will eventually turn around and start winning some games. Just gotta get a better roll of the dice. Alrighty, up next we have a matchup between Chris and Smud that was quite pathetic. Neither of them scored that many points. Smud didn't even get to 100. Daniel Jones, not a good performance. Dalvin Cook most of his points went off. Gotta love to see it. Dalvin Cook, just an absolute legend. Kenyon Drake is extremely disappointing. It's really unfortunate. He scored 5 points against Carolina, who is like one of the worst run defenses right now. Devontae Adams, you threw your eggs in the basket hoping that he'd play on Monday night, and he didn't end up doing it. You know what? When you needed 40 points, you might as well just go for the Devontae Adams and hope for the best, but it didn't work out this time. Keelan Cole, Zach Pascal, Fant, John Brown, all very average performances, not great. Just a couple catches, couple yards, all in that 7 to 8 point range. Phillip Rivers sucked. That game was horrible. I'm very upset about that game. Gross. Gross for Indianapolis offensive players, man. That's just terrible right now. And Robbie Gold and the Chargers did not do diddly squat for you either. Man, that's just a tough week. It's just a tough week. I've had 3 tough weeks in a row after just going monster mode on week 1 with a 200 plus point week. But you know what? It's been the injuries. You're going to get you guys back soon, and we'll see what happens from there. Over on Chris's side, you got Matt Ryan not doing very good. Frank Gore and Austin Eckler not doing too hot. Austin Eckler really messed up his hamstring. It did not look good. Hope for the best. Hopefully he gets to come back as soon as possible, because that's gonna be brutal, especially since you're already missing Christian McCaffrey. God, I wonder how you're gonna handle the next couple weeks. That's gonna be difficult. Especially since Le'Veon Bell's coming back, so Frank Gore's not going to get 13 carries anymore. Oh dear, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, bucko. Good thing you got the win. DK Metcalf had a nice 100-yard game. T.Y. Hilton did not do good because he is an Indianapolis Colt. Keenan Allen, target monster, got the receptions and some yards. Not a great game though. Evan Ingram also got the receptions and the yards, but not a great game. Odell Beckham went crazy, 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys. That's pretty wild. You love to see that. You really do. Aaron Rodgers went bonkers against Atlanta, as you would expect him to do. Joey Sly and the Patriots didn't do anything special, but they got 10 points, and it was enough to win the gosh darn game, making Chris 2-2, and Smits falls to 1-3. Up next we have Connor versus Tyler. This is a pretty good matchup. Tyler, it's a high-scoring one for the most part. Tyler gets the W here. Connor had a pretty solid performance at 150 points. Carson Wentz did pretty solid, even though he does not have a receiving core right now. Darrell Henderson was a big disappointment. I'm sure he wishes he got a lot more out of him. Man, that's tough, especially after sitting Kareem Hunt, but it wouldn't have been enough. It's all good. It's all good. No worries. Mark Ingram, he didn't do too good, but he got the touchdown. Traquan Smith had a great game. He got 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had an amazing game, 100 yards and a touchdown. Marvin Jones is awful. Really unfortunate. Don't know what's going on there. Travis Kelce, he had, he didn't do great for Travis Kelce. For a tight end, he did solid. But Travis Kelce, not what you would expect, but he did play the New England defense, and they kind of take away their best players, so is to be expected. T. Higgins had another solid performance. Matthew Stafford did really well, even though Marvin Jones did not. So that's you got the wrong receiver to stack with Stafford. It looks like Fairbairn and the Bills, all they both had a solid performance. It wasn't enough though, as Tyler has a monstrous 191 point performance. Kyler Murray 25 points. Their team's losing, but he is putting up numbers, so you'll take it. Joe Mixon went crazy, absolutely bonkers. That's he's just repaying you for sticking with him after having a rough couple weeks. Just crazy, 45 points there. Ronald Jones, you just traded for him, and he's been doing really solid. He got over 100 yards, and he got 6 catches for only 17 yards somehow. Amari Cooper is just going wild right now. He got 31 points for you, 12 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown. Adam Thielen also had a great game, 100 yards and a touchdown. Sammy Watkins didn't do too much. Zach Ertz didn't do too much. Higbee not that much. Kirk Cousins, it's alright, but not too much to talk about. Prater, nothing. The Rams had a solid game, and you killed it this week. Way to go. Moving up to 3-1. That's going to put you in a good spot moving forward. And the next matchup is Matt versus Germ. This is another pitiful matchup, low-scoring affair. Oh boy, let's just get into it. Germ scored 92 points. 92. He had Deshaun Watson put up 20. That's pretty solid. Kamara 24. That's great numbers. Kamara's gonna get that for you pretty much every time. And then you had Dion Lewis, who didn't do squat. Dontrell Inman, who didn't do squat. Tyler Lockett, unfortunately, did not do squat for you this week, even though he was the wide receiver 1 last week. DJ Moore has been relatively disappointing this year, not getting a whole lot of touchdowns or the yardage to go along with his receptions. Darren Waller had a solid game, but he did fumble, it appears. Larry Fitzgerald didn't do anything for you. Nick Mullins got benched, I believe, halfway through the game. He didn't do anything for you before he got benched, though, so it's not a big deal. And then Greg Zuerlein and the Cardinals didn't do anything either. That's what happens when you get 92 points. No one does anything except for 2 players. Maybe 3 if you count Waller. Over on Matt's side, he had Russell Wilson and Chris Carson do their thing. Chris Carson's just a monster. I can't believe he did that after getting his leg all twisted up. That just looked nasty. And speaking of leg injuries, Nick Chubb. Oh man, he's going on the IR. He got knocked out of the game. I don't really know how deep into the game it was, but he only got 6 points before he got out. 6 carries. So I imagine it happened pretty early on. Hopkins did not have a great game for Hopkins, but it's pretty solid, 9 points. Cooper Kupp had a pretty good game. He got a touchdown. Gallup didn't do much. It wasn't his week in that receiving core. Gesicki had a down week. Robbie Anderson, it looks like he's the wide receiver 1 on the Carolina Panthers, unfortunately, for DJ Moore and Germ. Randall Cobb had not a great week, only 2 catches. Justin Tucker and the 49ers both did alright. It was enough to get the W, 123 points. Maurer is going to be 4-0. I believe he is the last remaining undefeated squad. So congratulations to you. Moving forward, Germ 1-3. You're going to have to step it up there, big boy. Let's get it going. Here we go. Zombs versus Shark. The matchup of the week we were looking at. And my goodness, it came down to the wire. Zom squeaks out the win. And it doesn't look like a squeak since it was like 20 points. But it was a squeak because 4 players came down to Monday night for Shark. And it really looked like he was going to be able to do it. But the game scripts just did not go his way. And Kevin Ridley put up 0, as you'll see. But going down the list for Shark, Teddy Bridgewater, Mike Davis had a great game. Aaron Jones also a great game. He was one of the Monday Nighters. Uh, he did awesome. He tried his best for Shark. Unfortunately, Calvin Ridley did not. 0 for 5, no points. Sad day. Jameson Crowder did well. Preston Williams did not do much. Atkins, I believe he got injured in that game. He did all right, I guess. If you're playing Atkins, I'm assuming that you're not upset with 7 points. Edwards-Helaire did not do probably as much as what you were hoping for. But I mean, 15 points without a touchdown, still nothing to complain about. Patty Mahomes, 21 points, that's pretty solid. Blankenship, 13, and the Colts, 7. Combined 20, you can't complain about that. That's pretty darn good. But it's not enough, because over on Sam's side, he scores 177 points. Lamar Jackson gets 25. Still haven't seen that big breakout game from Lamar this year, I don't think. You'd expect him to put up 40 one of these weeks here soon. Hopefully not when I play you again next. We'll have to see. James Robinson had another solid game. He didn't get a touchdown, and he still got 17 points. Singletary got his touchdown, got 19 points. Cole Beasley had a pretty solid game before getting injured, and Robinson got his garbage time points. Will Fuller went off. You love to see it. Dalton Schultz had a great game. Miles Sanders, it's tough to be in Philly. He got 11 points, no touchdown. Justin Herbert had a great game. Crosby and the Seahawks both did all right, combining for 11. Not anything too special, but it's enough to get the dub. And that puts them both at 3-1 now, moving forward. So it was a big game, huge game. Sam's knocks him down, gives him the loss, the blemish on the record. Here we go. Last matchup, it's myself versus Al. I am so sick to my stomach when I think about this, because I lose. I'm a big old fat loser. And you know what? If I just did not touch my phone before the game, I would have been a big fat winner. Oh no. But you know what? Everything's going to be okay. Let's just go over it. Jared Goff did not have a great game. You would have expected him to dominate the Giants. He did not do that. Nyheim Hines, I stinkered him. But no, it was a tinker stinker. That's what it was. It was a stinker of a tinker. I took out an Antonio Gibson who went off, scored 26 points. I took him out for Nyheim Hines because I thought that Nyheim Hines was going to get like 10 catches since there's no receivers left in Indianapolis, but that offense just sucks, and I don't want any part of it because their defense is too good. Now, moving forth, Myles Gaskin. He did fine. Not what you're hoping for, but 11 points. I'm not complaining. That's just what I'm hoping for out of my running backs, to be honest, at this point. Kenny Golladay did good, 16 points. Robert Woods let me down along with Jared Goff, only got 7.8. CeeDee Lamb had 23.3. He was another one of my tinker stinkers. I took him out, or I took DJ Chark out at the last second, who scored 28 points, put in CeeDee Lamb. I wasn't too upset about it because CeeDee Lamb also went off, but it does suck. George Kittle, I'm sorry I let you down, sir. You tried so hard to carry my team. Scored 37.7 points, tight end, 15 catches, 183 yards and a touchdown. My lord, I love you. I just do. You're the best player on my team. And that's without a doubt, because poor Quads is on the IR. Marquise Brown had an alright game. He just so close to getting in the end zone. I would have loved that because it would have taken away one of the Mark Andrews touchdowns. No, it wouldn't have, because that was a rushing touchdown. Actually, that happened after that. Whatever. I just like to think. Of ways that I could have won, but, I lost, so I shouldn't do that. Whatever. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 23 points. Pretty solid. Got that rushing touchdown. Cody Parkey did well, and the Texans didn't do squat. Whatever. Alec, he gets his W. He is no longer winless. He is 1-3 along with me. He had Gardner Minshew do alright. 20 points, not too bad, pretty solid. Jonathan Taylor, a disappointment along with Nyheim Hines, because that whole offense is disappointing. Todd Gurley had a good game, got 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, solid, got his touchdown. Jarvis Landry had the passing touchdown. Pretty sweet though. Ayuk had that sweet hurdle into the end zone. Mark Andrews got 2 titties. About that Scantling had an alright game, and Tom Brady went off 5 touchdowns. Will Lutz and the Chiefs combined for 25 points. That's a pretty solid performance out of them. And it was enough to get the dub out with 184 points. 1-3 moving forward. And now moving on to the week 4 awards, we have the best manager of the week, which goes to Tyler for setting a 95% perfect lineup. He scored 191 points out of a possible 201, so he only missed 10 points there. And what do you know? I'm the worst manager. I knew that. Only scored 75% of my possible. I scored 163, but I could have scored 219 points. Oh God, Lord save me. Lord save me. Sam Darnold went off on my bench, but I mean, I never would have played him, so that's just whatever. Biggest blowout was Tyler versus Connor. Only 41 points. That's not a big blowout for this week. You know, I believe last week it was 100, so 41 points, we all had some pretty close matchups this week. Nail biters. The narrowest victory... Wait, what? The narrowest victory was 18 points? Wait, so all of our matchups were between 18 and 41 points? What the heck? That's pretty wild. That's not a large space, a large range to be in. Very interesting. But the Zam Shark matchup, 18 points. Highest score goes to Tyler at 191 this week. No one cracked 200. And the lowest score is Jerem at 92. Absolutely unfortunate. And for the positional awards, we've got the QB of the week. I feel like it's Dak Prescott every time. It's always one of Ben's quarterbacks at least, because sometimes it's Josh Allen maybe. But my lord, Dak Prescott, 500 passing yards, got 38 points. The running back of the week is Joe Mixon. Tyler had him, 45 points. Wide receiver of the week is Chicken Bricks. Odell Beckham Jr., 38.1 points with 3 touchdowns. Tight end of the week is my tight end, George Kittle, 37.7. Kicker of the week goes to Shark, 13 points with Rodrigo Blankenship. And the defense of the week goes to Al with the Chiefs defense at 20 points. Looking at the current standings for the playoffs, we have the only undefeated team, Matt, in first place, 4-0. And then we have Shark and Ben, Tyler, and Zams all at 3-1. That's a pretty tight pack up at the top. And then you got Chicken Rick at 6 and Connor at 7, both 2-2. And then you got the 1-3 squad. The last playoff spot right now would go to Alec at 1-3 because of the points tiebreaker. He has a lot more points than the rest of us down here. But the 1-3 squad, we got Al, then we got myself, Branson, Germ, Smud, and then the only winless team left, Dylan. But that's okay though. You'll get your win next week. I believe it. And for the waivers this week, the big boy left on the wire. The big fish is Dearness Johnson. $21. I bid on him. Only one other person bid. only one other person, and it was Dill who put $9. So I really could have bid less. You know, I started out with $11, which would have won, and then I bumped it up to 16, and then I bumped it up to 21 because I was like, fuck it, I need a running back. Gosh darn it. um, $21 though. That's fine. Zoms spent 0 on Randy Bullock, swapping kickers. Ben picked up Jordan Wilkins and CJ Procise. And Carolina Panthers, he picked them all up. So there you go. That's the waivers. Nothing too major. And looking into the matchups next week, we've got some saucers. We've got Branson versus Shark. I need this game, darn it. I'm desperate for a win. I can't be 1-4. Let's see how that goes. We got Maurer versus Tyler. That should also be a pretty great game. 4-0 versus 3-1. That'll be pretty big for the top rankings. We got Connor versus Germ. Zoms versus Al. Ben versus Smits. And Chris versus Dylan. Wow, looks like based on the rosters right now, looks like Dill's finally gonna get a win. Chris does have a pretty banged up roster, so we'll see what he does. See if he's able to finagle his way into a W. Keep Dylan winless, or maybe Dylan will just get it. Looks like the matchup of the week, I'm gonna have to give it to Matt versus Tyler. 4-0 versus 3-1. We'll have to see what happens. Will Matt stay undefeated? It's gonna be a tough test. We'll have to find out. Good luck this week, fellas.